Good afternoon, people of Moreton. Max Hooper here, your Citizens Party candidate for the federal election coming up in probably April or May this year. I've brought you here to another spot. This is the rooftop at Sunnybank Central, and in the background you've got Cusack Stadium and you've got Toohey Mountain on the right, so always bringing you somewhere interesting. So yeah, today I'm here to talk about why is the Citizens Party the party to vote for at this election. Like, what are you going to get out of having a Citizens Party candidate? So what I want to get across to you today is that the economic challenges and the problems that we have in the country are far too challenging for the same let's keep doing what we're doing policies. Major parties are really only touching around the edges, and we fundamentally need to get right to the heart of it. And a lot of people won't have heard of the Citizens Party, but the Citizens Party has a policy platform that gets right to the heart of the things that we need to make this country more prosperous and a better place to live. So today I just want to talk to you about those and about how these hit the ground where you are here in Moreton, and how we can have a better and a stronger country with the right policy settings. So if you go to our website, which you can do at citizensparty.org.au/policies, you can go and have a look for yourself and you can read our national policy platform. I'm just going to touch across the 7 key areas that we've identified as the key policies at this election that Australia needs. So those policies are broken down into 7 areas. So on the first area, we've got national sovereignty. So basically what we're saying there is Australia's going to do better in this world. We don't live in the same world we lived in the 1990s and the early 2000s. We live in a much more globalised and a multipolar world. We no longer can have single powers around the world that call all the shots. We're moving into more of an era of multilateral agreements, bipartisanship, doing deals between different nation states, and Australia needs to take its place like an adult in that world with an independent foreign policy so that we can take advantage of the geography of where we live, and that's going to work to our economic benefit, but also in terms of us being the major promoter of peace in our region. That's very important. So what we're saying is end the subservience to the US foreign policy, and let's go with a really Australian foreign policy that looks at our region and where we live and how we engage with this part of the world. So the second part on economic sovereignty, we've been pushing for a very long time to reintroduce a postal savings bank like our old Commonwealth Bank. And we want to go much further than that. We want to make that a sovereign infrastructure bank that's going to get on with building the infrastructure, the housing, the health and the educational facilities that our country demands. It's not good enough in a first world country when we can't produce the right infrastructure projects. They take too long to get approved. They end up costing way more than they should. So part of our plan with that is to get a national construction corps back together and actually get people straight. Labor might offer free TAFE, but we'd go further. We'd offer kids straight out of school a chance to get genuine traineeship in a federal government department that builds nation building infrastructure. And we need big programs like that if we're going to we got big challenges, we got lots of houses to build, we got new towns to set up. We need to really get this place going, and we're not going to do it at the moment where the cost of everything is blowing out. We need leadership from the government in that. The third part of our policy is about returning integrity to public governance. So this is where we really need to go strong on the anti-corruption efforts, and we need to take out the corrupting elements in our government, that when the government is meant to be for, of and by the people, but it's captured by a number of lobbies. You've got the banking lobby, you've got insurance lobby, and you've got a lot of restrictive policies that we've signed up for that are disadvantaging Australian business. So We need to look at ASIC. ASIC needs to be restructured. It needs to be a genuine corporate fighter, and it needs to be protecting people that are subject to corporate actions and losing money. So that's very important. And we also need to protect whistleblowers. So when people come out and speak in the public interest, they shouldn't be punished. We should actually protect that, and that's an important part of our educated citizens telling us where as a country we're going right or where we're going wrong. We also need to return to a humane and a visionary immigration policy. I think we need to look at the international student sector, and we need to really have a hard look and say which part of that sector is actually a genuine export sector and which is a bit of a Ponzi scheme and more an import thing. I think we need people here that can really help us to build this country. So on the back of World War II, we got immigrants from all across Europe affected by the war that did plumbing, they did carpentry, they did block laying, they did roofing, and we built a lot of housing and a lot of infrastructure. The Snowy Mountain scheme was built with skilled migration, and that we need to really refocus on that. And we need to refocus on it with a government that's actually got a plan. So returning to affordable housing, like I talked about, we need the construction side sorted out. There's issues in the building industry, and the planning and the regulatory parts of building housing is just becoming too difficult. So we need to really simplify that and bring it back to a much simpler process. We know we need the housing. We don't need the politics. We just need people that actually know how to get things moving and get things happening. We think we should be ending negative gearing and advantageous tax treatments that go to investors. It's just not equitable anymore, and it's costing the budget. And we need to direct our money and our resources to support the young families that are going to be our future and back them, and not back people that are trying to buy their 10th, 12th or 13th house. We also, as part of our plan, we'd get the Aussie Post Bank to work to fund a national housing authority, which we've got a lot of round tables, we've got a lot of well-paid people sitting around in rooms talking about it, but we need to bring back the proper housing commissions at a state level and a national housing authority and fill it with people who actually do things. People like plumbers, builders, carpenters, block layers, those roofers. We actually just need to cut the BS and get down to people who actually can build the houses, not talk about building the houses, actually build them. Revitalising our healthcare system, number 5. We need to expand healthcare services in this country, but also as a responsible government, we need to be able to pay for it. It's a very large budget item in the budget. There's a lot of duplication between state and federal. We need to get to the bottom of that. But we're not going to be a party that just promises you we can pour money into it. We have to get our economy moving and working again so that money can go in. But delivering people quality healthcare is a human right, and it's part of being a proper developed first world country. And that's the kind of country we want Australia to be. 6 on our list is returning to energy security. We support public generation. We're lucky in Queensland we do have public generators, but that's not the case in other states. Electricity is a resource that everyone needs, and it's connected to your house with one wire. So I don't see the need to have so many private providers if all they're doing is sales and marketing and behind a computer screen. Energy was always cheaper and worked better when we had good national energy policy and it was delivered by the governments. Energy security is absolutely critical, and that goes for our fuel and for our natural gas as well. We've got this terrible situation where we're paying more for natural gas and we're exporting it cheap to countries that are selling it at a profit whilst our manufacturing sector doesn't have gas. So we got no excuses now. We get in there and renegotiate those contracts, and we get a proper East Coast domestic reservation policy. At a federal level, we'll put the pressure on the states to make sure that comes through, like we have in Western Australia. And on our final point, we need to invest in a country in our national food security and our fuel security. At the moment, if something was to go against our favour in our region. We only have 27 days worth of diesel supply for trucking and for critical freight, and that's to get all the logistics in Australia all out to all the people that need the products. And we saw during COVID what happened when our supply chains go down. We need a proper strategy to have those domestic resources stockpiled here, and we should be investing in things like refining and other processes that make sure that we're self-sufficient. And on our food security, we've just got to stop screwing over the farmers. We probably need to look at the protections. We need to support the live export industry. It can be controversial, but it's a big money spinner, and it's a big part of our farmers getting the money they need to keep us prosperous. And also we're delivering protein at an affordable price to some of the largest growing areas in the world, and we have a responsibility to make sure our food security and our production stays up. So anyway, that's a little bit there, a bit more of a to the detail video than some of my last ones. As always, I'm very keen to hear your thoughts, and you can follow my campaign by visiting max4moreton.au. And if you'd like to reach out, send me an email. I'm happy to take your questions and have a chat. That's Moreton@citizensparty.org.au.